All right, kids, I'm an anti-fascist. Everybody should be. And with these United States trying to define what that means while describing the anti-fascist movement as a terrorist organization, even escalators have become Antifa. Standing up and declaring yourself to be Antifa is the 2025 version of I am Spartacus, but the modern day old white people doing so aren't lying in order to protect one dude. And there's not much of a sacrifice being made because police aren't at No Kings protests for some reason. Giving credit to liberals and leftists alike, and I usually get into differences between those groups because I would rather not be associated with certain people, yet I would rather ask, where my progressives at? But based on what or who we're going to talk about today, we're everywhere except Congress. Instead, where's that opposition party?
You know, it's Halloween. Donald Trump should put on a costume and pretend to act like a president, at least on this day.
I don't know this host's politics, but his face is straight up letting us know that he doesn't respect anything going on over on the right side of the screen. Today, I'm going to show you how to spot a progressive, and we're going to focus on House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. And if this is your first time hearing this, you're about to experience so many allusions to hip hop.
I got so many stories, I feel like I'm in a hip hop studio right now.
He wants to be a rapper so bad, but the only thing he has in common with them is dry snitching. He's constantly telling on himself and telling Democratic voters and supporters what he thinks they like and want from him. For example, he posted this picture, which is in the style of Run DMC's album, Raising Hell, with the caption, "For the people." Except his says, Dems are raising hell. So it's Senator Cory Booker, who, if you didn't know, did a record-breaking 25-hour speech on the Senate floor where he didn't mention Gaza or Palestine or genocide once. Sitting on the steps of the Capitol with Hakeem Jeffries, who did say this.
I'm trying to figure out what leverage we actually have. What leverage do we have? They control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. It's their government. What leverage do we have?
The point is, what hell is Hakeem Jeffries raising? Jam Master Jay will be spending the ones and twos in his grave. Anyways, my intention isn't to gatekeep American progressivism. Who am I to prevent others from sampling what's being offered? What am I going to do? Scan people's ideas, impulses, and issues to make sure they got a membership? Like Costco? My aim is to make gaining access easier so that anyone can get a taste, yet give exclusive perks and early hours to those at the executive level who know what time it is, like Costco. Before I continue, the BBC says what it means to be progressive in the US is someone who wants to see more economic and social equality and hopes to see more gains in feminism and gay rights. They're also supportive of social programs directed by the state, and they like more social movements to have more power in the US. We'll get back to this article later because how a foreign country views us shows me that we don't have a pot to piss in or an Overton window to throw it out of. With that said, where is Hakeem Jeffries?
Sorry, remind me of your name. I'm Hakeem Jeffries. Oh, lovely to meet you. So, what do you do? I'm a congressman. So, what do you do? I just told you. Yeah, but I don't know what you do. I work every day to make the country a better place to live. Nice. What do you do, though? I'm trying to stop fascism from taking control of the government and hijacking the midterms. Cool. Doing what? Well, I'm a House Minority Leader. I'm one of the top-ranking Democrats in the nation trying to get more Democrats in office. Now, that is amazing. What do you do?
Let's get started. Hakeem Jeffries was born in New York City and raised in Brooklyn, where Captain America is from. He attended law school at NYU, graduated with honors, and became a corporate lawyer before running for New York State Assembly. Since 2013, he has been the U.S. representative in his 7th term now for New York's 8th congressional district, which is Brooklyn, Bucky's district in the MCU. From 2019 to 2023, Jeffries was the chair of the House Democratic Caucus. As he ran unopposed, members of the caucus unanimously elected him to succeed Nancy Pelosi as leader in November of 2022. This was not only around the same time that Representative Byron Donalds got his head pat, but made Jeffries the first African-American to lead a party in either chamber of the United States Congress. Homie is now like the number 4 Democrat in all of Congress, behind fellow Brooklynite, Senator Chuck Schumer. You should know that Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries have something else in common.
Hakeem and I sent a letter in late July. So we sent him a very strong letter just the other day, asking 8 very strong questions.
Leader Schumer and I sent a letter laying out our position very clearly. I thought that was a strongly worded letter. We hope and expect that Republicans will do the right thing, and if they don't,
we're going to write a sternly worded letter. Hakeem Jeffries' little brother is Hassan Jeffries, an author and an associate history professor at The Ohio State University. I don't know if it's due to his approach or activism or awareness, but I see him more as a progressive than Hakeem. And if you're wondering, Hassan did not teach me while I was at OSU, but I kind of wish he did because I mess with his work. Meanwhile, Hakeem has made it clear that he wants to work with MAGA. In other words, reaching across the aisle to find compromise with the party his constituents believe to be fascist. The party that calls him Timu Obama. Just one of the nicknames for a man who doesn't mind not being known as a progressive.
Do you think the Democratic Party has become too progressive, as a lot of people have said? I know you're a moderate. What's your take on that?
I think it's important for us to be the party of common sense solutions.
Didn't deny being a moderate Democrat, which is fine. I'm only using this interview with Katie Couric in order to point out that there was a pillow in the background featuring the notorious big line, "If you don't know, now you know." Did you know that there's a website dedicated to giving a progressive scorecard? This is a database of votes, bills, and members of Congress intended to inform the public from a left-wing perspective. Each congressperson is given a brief description of their ideological leanings and a score on their primary challenge meter ranging from 0 to 5. A 0 means that the Democrat in question has a solid progressive record, and a 5 means the member is much too conservative. Well, Jeffries got a 3. Really, the only numbers that matter for this episode is how much Hakeem Jeffries is getting paid by a certain lobby.
I love having the speaker, minority speaker, Hakeem Jeffries. Because, you know, I'm a political nerd. Like, I love talking
Charlemagne
politics.
hates him.
You do?
I don't hate him. I just don't think he stands for anything.
Well,
I think that I call him Apex Shakur.
Another nickname for him. Hakeem denies being bought. He has said that the extreme left protests him more than they protest Donald Trump because he has chosen not to bend the knee to the far left or Donald Trump and the far right. And that's something reserved for a Stephen A. Smith. Recently, it was reported that in terms of donations, Hakeem Jeffries is being outraised by AOC, and peep the ages of their donors. This Twitter user is curious about senior citizens getting deceived out of their money by leadership. Going back to Hakeem and hip hop, rap music was created by boomers for Gen X. Is that who this is for?
Will always put American values over autocracy, benevolence over bigotry, the Constitution over the cult, justice over judicial overreach, knowledge over kangaroo courts, liberty over limitation, xenial over xenophobia, yes we can over you can't do it, and zealous representation over zero-sum confrontation.
Hakeem Jeffries is Gen X. Is that who this is for? And as Ken Klippenstein asks, who is this for? Why is the bench distorted? What did he need to Photoshop here? By the way, most of the clips being used in this episode were sourced by Ken Klippenstein. Shout out to him.
Wow, okay, Clip, nigga, what's up?
Yo, that's a fire name.
Ran up on him in the street, couldn't reach his clip in time. I had to leak it to the press, like my name was Klippenstein.
Hakeem Jeffries is more afraid of the party's centrists than its progressives. A primary could change that. Oh, and that progressive scorecard database from earlier said primarying Jeffries would be expensive and bloody, but still worth doing to keep the pressure on him from the left. And it would have been nice for him to put pressure on New York Mayor Eric Adams. Support for that man can't be coming from the left, can it? Adams and Andrew Cuomo are the essence of status quo signaling to the right.
You guys know he's brown, right? Come on, you know what rhymes with brown? Come on, come on. You heard of this? He's brown. I talk to brown and black people, even though I don't want to. Come on, just vote for me. Come on. He's brown. You know when I say brown, I mean the other thing, right? Come on. I'm Italian.
It's here where I want to remind you of that BBC article that I brought up a few minutes ago. It said, progressives view politics as a bottom-up progress. After mentioning that during a CNN town hall in February of 2016, Hillary Rob Him Clinton claimed that she's a progressive who likes to get things done, then added that she was amused that Bernie Sanders set himself up as the gatekeeper of who gets to be progressive. Bernie, a Democratic socialist, for his part said Clinton isn't even a liberal when it comes to foreign policy and other issues. Mind you, Hakeem Jeffries has stated that there's a difference between progressive Democrats and hard left Democratic socialists, a distinction that he says they made, whoever they are. Let's put that in perspective.
In America, Bernie Sanders is a radical, and in Ireland, he's a little bit to the right. That's all I'm saying. In America, he's radical left, you know? And in Ireland, he's just like free healthcare, fucking normal. At best in Ireland, he's a centrist, right? This is non-controversial European politics, right? Which is what drives me crazy about the radical left. Is just like a 60-year-old granny in Ireland is like, I'm radical now? What the fuck?
If Hakeem Jeffries is, quote, clearly a black progressive Democrat concerned with addressing racial and social and economic injustice with the fierce urgency of now, then I must have missed what he's doing. I can't stress enough how he was or is in the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Okay, he has spoken up and to and out and for criminal justice reform, voting rights, queer rights, reproductive rights, gun control, weed, and the environment. All good things, sure, necessary. Stuff that I might have taken for granted and need to reestablish, seeing how the current administration is regressive. With that said, many of these issues and positions are closest to that of moderates and centrists in today's USA and on the right in the rest of the world. American citizens gaining access to housing, food, livable wages, unions, healthcare, and helping to end the genocide in Gaza and Sudan have to be the blueprint. To put it in middle 90s, early 2000s Brooklyn terminology Hakeem would understand. And yes, Democratic socialist Zohran Mamdani is a progressive. Hakeem Jeffries just got around to endorsing Mamdani mere hours before early voting in New York City's mayoral race began. This man has created a much needed buzz for Democrats, and somehow a common sense solution for Hakeem wasn't to get behind him.
This is a very unfortunate thing that Hakeem Jeffries is doing for his own political career, frankly, because in that primary, which was the largest turnout in the history of New York City mayoral primaries, Zohran Mamdani won in Hakeem Jeffries' own district by double digits, by around 12 points. Mm-hmm. So this is just basically a siren call for anybody in DSA or anybody who is closely associated with Zohran Mamdani to primary Hakeem Jeffries in his own district.
Earlier last month, as of me recording this, a conservative politician stepped to Hakeem Jeffries in the U.S. Capitol, and the minority leader gave it to that dude. He ended it with, as we would say back in Brooklyn, why you playing yourself? And I can never be like, as we say in Columbus, to anybody. What am I going to follow that up with? Which scarlet or gray hoodie am I going to wear today? Hakeem Jeffries is from an objectively cool place, somewhere that has a history of toughness and a recognizable identity that my city doesn't have, but he seems to rarely take with him to work outside of the rap thing.
So you're not worried that you know, people, this might be a little corny, you know, some of the letters, little cornies.
Well, what, you mean the ABCs of democracy?
Yeah, yeah, the ABCs of democracy.
ABCs
it's a little
democracy.
Corny. No, it's a little bit.
No, listen, I think that, you know, it speaks for itself. It went viral for a reason.
Okay.
I don't know. You know, the comments speak for themselves.
All right. We'll hash it all out.
Recently, Christopher Moynihan, a violent insurrectionist who was pardoned by Donald Trump, was rearrested for threatening to kill Representative Hakeem Jeffries. He shouldn't have been pardoned in the first place, and no politician deserves that. I guess how to spot a progressive politician is keeping an eye on who is getting ignored on the center left by Pelosi, Schumer, and Jeffries, the establishment Democrats, the opposition party, or Look for someone who covered up their Nazi tattoo and lied about it. Maybe looking to see what Europe is doing from time to time. It's actually not that hard. This thing could have been shorter. I've made videos about Van Jones, Don Lemon, Childish Gambino, and have they fallen short or missed the mark? Yet, it was this current episode that made me question how or why I addressed black men. And I asked myself if I see me more as a progressive than a black man, which is ridiculous. However, I'm realizing that I believe progressivism is the best way to gain advancement for black folks. Truly for the people. This isn't to say that progressives or leftists are perfect. Far from it. This is America. Speaking of rap music, the reason that I kept referencing Hakeem Jeffries' representations to hip hop is because I thought so much of the game was about rebellion, counterculture, sticking it to the man or whatever. Well, if things go the Democrats' way in next year's midterms, Hakeem Jeffries could become Speaker of the House, and he would be the man. And the Democrats would be playing themselves. Again, we're gonna be all right.